These are 7 life lessons I wish I knew that would have made living in my 20s a whole lot easier. Hello, my name is John Hill. I've been a professional skateboarder and YouTuber for the last 10 years, and even though I did a lot of things right that I'm excited about that set me up for a future that I now currently love, there are still so many mistakes where I would be much further ahead if I had avoided these altogether. Piece of advice number 1, progress is not linear. It can be inconsistent. So if I find myself having a huge growth moment, which you will in your life, that will not continue on the same trajectory forever. If you think about any company, any influencer, any celebrity, anyone, anytime, and any place, they grow, and then there's moments where they even dip. They grow again and they dip. And all these companies and business people will say that if you're not growing, you're dying. Well, you're going to go through a lot of deaths in whatever career you're doing. I remember when my brother gave me a piece of advice as I was growing, as I was popping off of YouTube for the first time. He was like, you understand that this doesn't last forever. And in my head, I just thought, well, that's silly advice. If I just continue to work harder and make better videos and continue on my path, of course I will grow. But it didn't happen. Even when it feels like you're doing everything better, you're getting better. Sometimes being better and making a better product doesn't mean you're going to grow in the same way. You can actually grow maybe very minutely because all the work you had in the past, like writing your first book, this happens to a lot of creators or authors, they write their first book, it pops off, it's great, because it was 25 years of life lived before that one book where all their information went into it, and then when they work on the second book, it's just like the next year. And a lot of times when the second album comes out, it's just sort of about unrelatable problems that they had to face by not having the kind of success they want, even though they did have success from their original piece of work. I know that seems unrelatable, but YouTubers do this all the time. At first it's like life, and everyone's like, I relate. And then they go, being a YouTuber, and people go, we don't know what that's like. So progress is always going to be like this as you move forward. But if you get overwhelmed, that's when you start making the bigger mistakes like I did a million times in the past. What you want to do is be able to consciously step back, take a look at what you've built, analyze, and go, okay, I just need to slowly change this and see what happens, change this and see what happens. That's the best way to progress, is to make incremental changes instead of getting overwhelmed, burning out, and then making wild changes because you didn't take the time to analyze, but you just reacted emotionally. Number 2, fitness is not about physical health. It's about mental health, 100%. I only got into fitness in the last 18 months or so, and it completely changed my life. It essentially got rid of a lifetime worth of crippling anxiety that I've had forever based on childhood, nurture, nature. We all go through a lot of things, and that can lead us to having or being susceptible to higher levels of anxiety as we get older. For me, I have found that working out has healed so many wounds just by going to the gym, showing up, and pushing myself really hard. I don't know what's happening neurologically, but it has genuinely changed my life completely in the last 18 months. And for 4 years before that, I was going through a pretty bad depression, and I think that it would have been essentially completely solved by just getting into fitness, because it also lends to other habits that you start developing in your life. It lends to trying to eat better, trying to move more, trying to walk more. You get really into the idea of creating a good physique for yourself. You start seeing progress, you get excited about that. And it's all in your control. It's one of the only things where the amount you put in is the amount you get out. You might not look like Mr. Olympia in 3 years, but you're gonna look significant in 2 years if you even just stay consistent, you eat well, you're actually gonna have an athletic physique compared to whatever you had before. And that's pretty amazing that you can completely control the essence of the end product of this thing that you're trying to accomplish, when so much of life, no matter how hard you work, there's a bit of ambiguity and luck. Fitness is just completely different, and it really, really helps the brain. And maybe creatine has something to do with that as well, because apparently it has mental health benefits. And with someone like me as a skateboarder who's had a couple head injuries, I thought that that was what's just gonna make me depressed forever, or that has something to do with it. And then just working out, creatine, things like that, getting my life a little more organized, made me feel so much better. Man, I wish I could have told myself in my 20s to get into fitness when I was 24 and to stay consistent with that through my skateboarding career. Number 3, there will be times that you hate doing the thing you love. This sounds strange, but I made a career doing something I really loved, and people said, if you do that, you're no longer gonna love your hobby. It's gonna be this thing you have to work for. And I knew that, and I'd still prefer to do the thing I loved for a living rather than something I didn't love. I was willing to sacrifice something that I truly, truly love, that was a sense of escapism, to maybe make it come off more mundane in my life. But here's the thing. Usually it's thinking about doing the thing that sucks. The actual act is still fun. So when I go skate, when I'm riding around, when I'm filming a video, when I'm doing something that feels productive, I always enjoy it, even if it seems like, I don't really want to film this type of video today or do this type of video. Once I'm actually in it, I like the process. It's just thinking about it that sucks. But you have to pay the price with anything that you get to do in your life, any type of success that you want. What did Naval Ravikant say? He said, desire is a contract you write with yourself to be unhappy until you get the thing that you want, or something like that. That kind of is what it is. So if you desire to have anything that might seem a bit superficial, like myself, I desire to have things, sometimes like more money. I want to make more money. I can feel myself almost like restraining on my own happiness, being miserable with the things around me because I have this desire that's so heavy. But I know deep down, and I hope you know, younger John and younger 20-year-olds, that there's a thing that you actually like to do, that working and making and getting to the position that you want to get in is actually kind of fun. It's sort of the idea that the thing is so far away and it feels like your actions aren't really pushing you that far, that feel really difficult. But a lot of things in life is kind of like fitness as well, where you see progress after months, not after days. Number 4, be cringe. Do things to prove to yourself that you're not completely susceptible to the whims of what everybody else wants from you. The world wants everyone to be a certain way. Your friends, your family, everyone wants you to be a certain way. How can you prove to yourself that you are not constrained by their desires? Do something cringe. Do something that makes you feel uncomfortable, because the things that make you comfortable are the things that everyone around you told you should make you feel comfortable. So to me, getting into YouTube was absolutely cringe, especially to the skate culture, especially to this type of skating I was in. And the second that I actually started it and started moving forward in that world, like not even making progress, just doing it in general, I felt so liberated. I felt so free. There is no better feeling than being able to lean in any direction that you feel like you need to get the things that you want out of life, to have the relationships that you want, to be where you want to be. I bet if you sat here and you allowed yourself to go, what if I was like this? Would I actually get here and here and here? And that feeling itself is so liberating. Like, I'm scared of this, but if I did that, if I made the YouTube channel, if I said the silly thing, if I created the weird video, I mean, this video right now I'm making right now, this to me is like kind of uncomfortable because I'm used to making videos about skateboarding, but I'm willing to do this because it makes me feel liberated to be like, I don't even care what my own audience wants. I don't even care what anyone wants. I'm gonna make this video because it's advice that I genuinely wish I had and advice that I genuinely think is useful, blah, 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 blah. I would say something stacked on top of this is not to label yourself. Do not say, I'm the type of person who does this. I'm an introvert, I'm an extrovert. Get rid of as many labels as you can. The younger me actually knew this, which was fantastic. So this is not advice that I needed growing up. I always knew that labels created this identity in your head, and then you feel the need to fulfill that identity. If you say, I'm an introvert, then when people ask you questions, you go, well, I'm not really like that because I have a vision what an introvert is and they wouldn't do that. So maybe I wouldn't do that. But you can do whatever you want. You can be someone who doesn't like to go out and party, but you can be someone who likes to, I don't know, walk in the middle of the street and do cartwheels. Like, you can have a weird mix mash of identities. You are not one thing. No one is exactly the same labels as anyone else. We're all completely different, and you can make them up as you go. That being said, I think it's okay to use aspirational labels, but then feel free to discard them once you actually achieve that. So if you say, I'm an athlete, and then you're working out to fulfill that identity, and then one day you're like, I'm better than an athlete, whatever that is, then you can get rid of that. Number 5, being clever is easy, being kind is difficult. Coming up with clever retorts or saying these smart things. It might be fun to watch on YouTube, like the perfect comeback. This woke person just slammed this conservative person, or whatever, these stupid dumbass videos that have nothing to do with our lives that we watch on YouTube. That is actually easy. Being clever is simple because we all have jealousy or envy, and the easiest thing for us to do is to make fun of the things that make us feel uncomfortable for whatever reason, but to sit back and be empathetic to anyone who has especially a different opinion than you, and to say, how can I treat the situation with kindness rather than being clever? Yeah, sure, I can be like, well, what a silly concept this person has, and Ha 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 ha. There is no bigger turnoff or sign of insecurity as someone who relies on saying things that sound smart constantly, when a lot of times if you dissect what the actual person says, they just understand how to overcomplicate something simple. I've heard people go on and on and on, and all they're saying is like, yeah, be nice to people when you meet them. And I'm like, why did it take you 4 paragraphs to say something so simple? The real Chads are kind, not clever. Number 6 is a dicey one. I'm not gonna say that this is advice that I would give everyone. This is advice that I would give myself though. Feeling like a victim is arrogance. I would say this to myself because I would look around and say, wow, how lucky or privileged that person is without knowing anything else about them. It's a sign of arrogance because in some weird way, I see myself as someone who had it harder than someone I don't even know. I understand that this conversation can get tough because people go through so many hard things, but again, if I was talking to myself, I'd say, hey, when you reflect on things that were hard in your life, try to think of them in a positive way. Try to think of the good that happened in that moment. This would be useful to me because delving into the victimhood has only made me more miserable in my life. It's only pushed people further away. Again, not telling you to do this. John, I know you don't complain about your life to people, but I know you feel it inside. I know you feel like things are unfair and you feel like everybody else has an advantage and then other people get opportunities that you don't, even though you're better in this way and this way and this way. Stop feeling that way. That is the way the world works. Luck is a factor, but if you keep pushing, you will find all the successes that you want out of life. Stop feeling internally jealous of everyone else. You're too jealous. Chill. And number 7 is very, very practical. It's stop spending so much money. As you start making money, especially if you grow up without money, you don't really understand the value of every dollar. It's really strange because my wife's family was really open about talking about finances. They'd be like, oh, I earned this, I did this, I spent this much money. And because they're analytical of their own finances and they're open to the conversation, they don't live in ambiguity. They don't spend money willy-nilly because they're watching every dollar and how it moves, and they actually talk about it and share about it. When you grow up without talking about it, money feels like this strange thing that you're not allowed to have, and you don't really understand it, you don't count it, you don't look at the numbers, you don't check on it, God forbid, because you're overdraft like always. So when you actually start making money, you just think, well, there's plus money in my account, so I'm just not gonna like check on it consistently, and you end up just spending it on silly things. For me, it was like clothes or nice meals way more often than I needed to. Think about every dollar you spend practically, seriously. Like when you buy a meal, do you need the extra whatever? Do you need this? Or can you go to the grocery store and find an alternative that's better? And do you need to go to Whole Foods or can you go to Target? Like, these are things I really didn't think about when I started making a little bit of money because of just being like, look at me now. I don't know what it was. It is silly. And a lot of the times I spent money, I thought I was putting money back into the business. Oh, well, I'm gonna buy these 10 products that I'll make for YouTube videos after filming the first video, realizing, okay, this isn't really a series people care about, and then just sitting on like $200 worth of equipment, go to the skate park and giving them out, but still, what a waste of money. And then I'm gonna continue to do this because I invested in a lot of projects where I ended up spending tens of thousands of dollars that went literally nowhere. And if I would have stopped and actually think about how I'm gonna make a return on any of these projects that I worked on, I would have been able to see, yeah, this is not a good investment. This is clearly something for your ego, or this is something that it's like a childhood dream that you wanted to fulfill. You can wait. There is time. Wait till you have more money. Wait till you're in a better position. Make investments that are much smaller. Put more money into the market as well. Geez. Buy the immediate thing, see how well that thing does, and then invest in more inventory. Don't start off with 1,000 t-shirts and then you end up selling 100. You could have just bought 100 and you would have looked better by being like, we sold out right away, and then instead you sat on inventory for 4 months. Basically, don't let your money move without paying attention to it. You'd be surprised at how many people who grew up without money are actually less precious about it when they actually get it. It's weird. It's like ironic. This is the first long form video that I've filmed on this channel. More to come. I'll upload shorts more consistently, but if you want to keep up with my skateboard content, I'll link that down below. Wait for the next video. It's coming very soon.